Hello there. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
We last talked about rating scales and the um, validity of the three or the invalidity of the three as the center point.
Yes,
You got me leaning toward your side.
I know. I know. Is three the middle point? And so what I did is after we talked last time, I obviously thought about it a lot more, but I also sort of wanted to see what the big rating systems, how they're defining those scales. So I looked at the three and the three big ones, TripAdvisor, because of hospitality, Google reviews, and Yelp. So here's how it breaks down. So TripAdvisor, it's not a star rating, it's a circle. There's circles, you're filling in circles, and you can fill in from 1 to 5 circles. And they have labels associated with them. 5 circles, they label as excellent. 4 is very good. 3 is average, and here's where I have the problem. 2 is poor, and 1 is terrible.
What are the other labels?
Yeah, so Google reviews, it's stars, 1 through 5 stars. They have no labels. You're just rating by stars. And then Yelp also uses stars, 5 stars. 5 they label as great, 4 they label as good, 3 they label as okay, 2 they label as could have been better, and 1 not good.
All right, so they're similar.
I would argue that they're not. I would argue that, well, Google reviews has no labels, so they're just.
Well, no, I'm saying the 2 with labels. I was curious about 3 because that's where a lot of
argument started.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay and neutral.
Not neutral, average. It's
okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yelp is okay,
and
TripAdvisor is average.
Something's average. It's okay.
I mean, in general, I think these are the rating scales leave a lot to be desired. So go back to TripAdvisor. 5 is excellent. So on the if you have you talked about the idea that 3 is in the middle, and that you looked at either side, meaning 4 and 2 and 5 and 1, as equal gradations above the center point, right? So look at the 2 ends of TripAdvisor. 5 circles is excellent, and 1 circle is terrible. Are those equal points in your mind from average? I say yes. That's good, right?
Especially since it's a 5-point scale, and you have 1.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's equal. Right. It's equal. But I'm saying the actual labels themselves. Excellent is an equal word value, if that's a thing,
right,
to terrible, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about the next one? So just past the average midpoint on the good side is very good, and just below the average side is poor. Are those equal? Are those equal values, word values above the center point? I don't think so.
You mean above and below the center point?
Correct.
You don't think so?
I don't think very good on the positive side.
You said something is very good. You don't think that if I describe the same thing as poor, that we're not as equally distant from the center point? You're positive.
Correct.
Rating, my negative rating.
Yes. Okay. I don't think that.
Some of that's semantics.
The opposite of very good is not poor, right?
What would you put instead of very good?
I don't know.
What would you put instead of poor?
I don't know. This is a rabbit hole we could go down forever.
Yeah, of course.
Forever. We can't make the assumption or the leap that a 5-point scale has that 3, that middle point is the neutral point, however you want to do it. And this labeling is reinforcing my point here. Let's move on to the other one. So Google, no labels attached to their stars. And then Yelp has, as I said, so their middle point is okay, meaning the three spot, a 3-star is okay. 5 stars is great. 1 star is not good. And 4 is good. And 2 is could have been better. I make the same argument. All right. They're saying okay is right in the middle. And good is one step above that. And
Right.
could have been better is one step below it. I don't think that that's as poorly done as TripAdvisor's personally. But the point is that it's all of this is not clear, and it leads to very messy calculations, numerical calculations, and this discussion started because of those studies that we read and we talked about,
Right.
and that they made a calculation about positivity. The argument obviously was that positivity has become a problem. And one of their positivity calculation put 3 as neutral. And I mean, everything that I've done since then supports my initial gut reaction that 3 is not neutral because of these labels. And when we look at what an average is, and I get that average, the word average when you're describing something is not equivalent, it's a dangerous word to use, equivalent to a numerical or mathematical average. But using that word can create confusion and makes this a bit messy. So in addition to this label problem, we talked about the idea that we had taken some TripAdvisor data from a couple of cities, and I forgot how many. It was a couple of million ratings. We just ran an average to see what the numerical or mathematical average score was amongst all the hotels in those couple of cities, and it was 4.2. So how can we say 3 is average? How can we say 3 is neutral? We can say 4.2 is an average hotel, again, using the non-mathematical term for it.
Again, getting back to the positivity problem, that you're proving it right there, that there's a problem because the average is so high.
Right.
I wonder if a lot of folks don't even bother considering the labels. They just know, to my point earlier, they just know that I'm a little bit better or I'm very good. And that's it. I'm either as high as I can go, or I'm almost as high as I can go. And that's it.
Well, some people, yes. And I think it's the problem with consumer review ratings versus, we talked last time about what hotel hotel ratings. We talked about AAA, how a 5-diamond hotel, there's a set methodology for arriving at that, and
to earn that, right?
You have to earn that, and there's the rubric to get to that 5 diamonds is based on some very objective things, such as facilities and levels of service that are in the hotel, as well as I'm sure there's some subjectivity as far as rating how nice the amenities are and all that. But generally speaking, the traditional ratings of hotels and restaurants and other facilities and services was using a standardized scoring system or rubric. And the confusion, I think, for both consumers and businesses is that a consumer review rating is so much different than those traditional ratings, because consumers have everybody has their own rating system, their own personal calculus, their own personal rubric for deciding what a 5-star experience was. And that makes it all very messy.
It does. And it sort of supports my contention over the years that the businesses, looking at it from the business owner's standpoint, has to do more. They have to dig deeper with a program, organized, asking specific questions that are designed to get proper feedback to build their business, grow their business, recover their business, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Reviews are not a true representation of what the customer or guest experiences in any business. and everybody has to take it with a grain of salt. Certainly the business has to. They have to understand that that's a snapshot. Unfortunately, it's the most important snapshot because we know that more than 90% of consumers are
Yeah,
consulting reviews before
right,
making these new purchase
right.
decisions. So it's vitally important that they're paying attention to them. But they have to take that feedback with a grain of salt and do more, as you said, with some of
Yes,
the programmatic transactional system.
because we know that if they do that over time, it will result in better scores. We
100%.
had that study about 3 or 4 years ago.
100%. Yes. Correct.
It's not going to happen overnight, but it does build your business to better and leads to better scores.
Yeah.
I think that study was the last sentence or two said every single one of our clients showed an increase in satisfaction scores and positive reviews.
They did.
Every single one.
They did. And that was objective again, because we're generating scores based on the answer to a set of questions, as opposed to a 4.2 TripAdvisor rating for a hotel is based on consumer reviews, is based on everybody's own internal assigning a it's not stars, but assigning a 1 through 5 value to rate that experience.
Yeah.
And so that's the other pitfall that businesses have to worry about. So let's say a business doesn't do their own customer satisfaction study or customer satisfaction. They don't have their own program to measure customer satisfaction with an objective, question-driven algorithm that generates scores. They can see, if they're just looking at reviews, that in a year ago, their star rating, or whatever you want to call it, average was 4.2, and this year it's 4.3. The knee-jerk reaction
Who's
is,
to say
oh,
that?
I'm doing better.
Yeah, but who's to say that's better?
We don't know that, because we don't know the scoring mechanism that all those people are bringing to the table. And as we know, the positivity problem that we've been discussing over these last couple of episodes has seemed to have gained momentum over time.
And it
Scores are trending.
influences.
The
Right.
bottom line is it's too messy to look at from a numerical standpoint.
Right, which is why my contention, I sound like a broken record, but the proper way to use some of the review sites is as a consumer, is for an at a glance sort of verification that it's not terrible. There's no red flags popping up to
And
tell
you know what? You're sort of bringing me over to your side on that, because I told you I use reviews much more in depth.
Right, right.
But I think I get to that place anyway. By digging through the reviews, I get to the point where I'm just saying.
But let me ask you something. The more you have to dig, does that influence you even, or I should say also to my side, because you're digging to find a review that's meaningful to you. If it was important, they would be right there.
I'm digging to find reviews. I'll tell you what I do. I do the at a glance thing. Like, I want to see that it's an active business, meaning there's a lot of reviews. That seems appropriate for how long the place has been in business. I certainly want to see a high score, because everybody has a high score. I don't want to take a chance on that low score place. And then I do dig into the actual text of reviews, comments, and I'm looking for bad ones. I think both consumers and business owners have to be aware of the messy methodology. It's self-selecting. People are choosing to go leave reviews. In most cases, they're not being reminded or asked to by the business. They're certainly not being incentivized to do that, which is a good thing. And you just have to take them with a grain of salt from both sides.
They're useful. They're definitely useful and important.
It is. It would be better from from a consumer side. There's really not much more you can do in terms of research other than word of mouth that you can find not on the internet, but maybe people you may know who have frequented a business you're interested in. But on the business side, the good news is there's plenty you can do. You can put in place a program to measure customer or guest satisfaction after every transaction.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
All right. I think that for now we should probably leave
So
this.
is 3 in the middle or not? Like what's this?
it's the middle number between 1 and 5.
Right.
That's the only thing I'm willing to concede at this point. I think we'll put this topic aside for a little while.
Ever.
We may revisit it at some point.
Forever.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that's enough for today, and we'll have a new topic for next time. All righty.
Have a good evening.
You too. Thanks.
Ciao.